The song smiles if a song can smile. The note glows for one more second, then fades. The music box lid snaps shut. Silence spreads out, wide and deep. I wait for my heartbeat to slow. After a long time, I lie down again. My pillow is cool on my cheek. I close my eyes. I do not know when I fall asleep. I open my eyes because I hear someone humming in the hallway. At first, I think it's Mom getting a glass of water. The sound is soft, friendly. It moves past my door down toward the living room. I sit up. My room is darker, like the dark got thicker. I swing my feet to the floor. The carpet is warm from me, then cool again, like a shadow walked over it. I push my door open. "Mom?" I whisper. No answer. I step into the hall. The night light by the bathroom glows a tiny moon yellow. The humming drifts from the living room, sweet and careful, pulling me like a string. I tiptoe because the floor is a tattletale and I don't want to wake her if she fell asleep on the couch. The living room is empty. But the humming is still here. It is coming from the cracked music box on the shelf. The lid is closed. The key is still. A line of moonlight slides through the curtains and paints a silver stripe across the floor. The hum fills the room like fog. I take one step closer. The hum changes. It listens to me listening. Then it adds a new sound, a second, smaller voice like a child singing from very far away. The two voices braid together, soft and tight. I reach out and touch the lid. The humming stops. Before I can breathe, every picture frame in the room tilts at the same time, as if the house sighed. The TV turns on to a black screen. The couch cushion sinks half an inch as if someone sat down. The air smells like storm rain, even though the sky outside is clear. Then the lullaby begins again, not from the music box, not from the air. It begins from the baby monitor on the shelf, the one we never plugged in. A tiny voice sings, and in the space between notes, something in the darkest corner of the room answers back. The corner bends toward me, slow and curious, like a tall person leaning down to hear my name. The baby monitor crackles. My own name rides in on a wave of static, and the last note lifts like a question. "Mia?" the lullaby asks. The lamp beside the couch flickers once, twice. And the closet door in the hallway starts to open. It happens again at 12:13 a.m., but this time it is Mom who sings. She does not look like herself. She stands in the dark kitchen with her eyes half open and her hands resting on the counter like she is afraid to let go. Steam ghosts from the kettle. The window glass fogs. And then Mom's mouth opens and the lullaby of fear slips out, sweet and terrible, like honey hiding a thorn. The whole house listens. The fridge hum bends to match the tune. The spoon in the sink quivers. On the fogged window, letters draw themselves with a slow finger. M-I-A. The lights flicker in time. I whisper, "Mom?" But she keeps singing and the note curls around my name like a leash. The air changes shape. In the middle of the kitchen floor, a shape appears where there was only tile. A crib made of shadow and moonlight rocking itself, empty but not empty. The song wants me to sing back. I can feel it tugging on my throat, asking for a duet, asking for a trade. The steam hisses. The clock clicks to 12:14. The crib rocks harder. Mom's voice grows softer, as if it is being pulled away from her, thread by thread. I step forward, heart loud as shoes in a hallway. If I do not sing, I think I might lose her. If I do sing, I might lose something else. The song leans close, eager, like a smile that is too wide. I fill my lungs. The night before, the closet door started to open. It happened so carefully that I thought I was imagining it. Just a slip of space widening. Just a breath of cool air spilling out, smelling like dust and old soap. My knees felt buzzy, but I took 2 steps toward it anyway because if you run from a door, the door knows you are afraid. That is one of my rules now. The baby monitor on the shelf crackled like popcorn. From it, the lullaby's tiny voice sang a line that made all the picture frames tilt, then went quiet like it had never been. "Mom?" I said again louder. This time I heard her feet on the hall. She came in with her robe tied crooked and her hair in a messy pile on top of her head. She blinked at the closet door and then at me. "Did you open that?" "No." We both looked at the baby monitor. Mom frowned. "We don't even use this," she said, picking it up. She turned it over. The battery door was empty. No plug. No switch on. It shouldn't have made any sound. Mom's mouth went tight the way it does when she is doing hard math in her head. Then she set the monitor down like it might be hot. "Salt the thresholds. Remember, the song is not a mother. It will rock what is not there." Mom looked at me, eyes big. "Wow," she said. "Someone liked drama." But she didn't laugh this time. We both stared at the words "Never Sing Your Name." I thought of the window writing MIA. I thought of the crib that was not there and the way the baby monitor had made a name out of static. Mom folded the letter very carefully and slid it back into the envelope as if rough hands might wake something. That evening we tried to make the house feel full of good things. We cooked spaghetti and told each other 3 good things about our day. Mine: Noah's bracelet, library smell, the sound of my sneakers on the gym floor. Mom's: finishing a big spreadsheet, finding the letter, the way the sun looked on the fence like a painting. We washed dishes together, side by side, making bubbles with our fingers until they popped like tiny moons. Before bed I made my own rules. Not magic, just small plans that felt like seatbelts. I put the cracked music box inside a shoebox and wrapped a scarf around it, like a quiet blanket. I drew a ring of crayons on my bedroom floor, circle after circle, bright colors touching like friends holding hands. I put my favorite stuffed bear, Captain Pickles, by the door on guard duty. I took a pinch of salt from the kitchen and dotted it along my windowsill, feeling a little silly and a little strong. I also found Mom's old voice recorder in a drawer. It was silver and had a tiny red light. I slid in new batteries and pressed the record button. My voice sounded small when I said, "Test." I told myself I would only record if the song started first, and I would only listen later with Mom in the morning, in the sun with pancakes. The house grew quiet in that deep way that means night is serious now. I climbed into bed. The bracelet was snug on my wrist. The glitter stars on the ceiling glowed like someone gentle was watching. I tried to read, but the words felt slippery again. I turned off the lamp and listened to the sounds I knew. Tick, hiss, whistle. I breathed slow and even. The clock in my room is old, and sometimes the numbers jump forward if I stare too hard. I didn't stare. I just waited. The minute before 12:13 felt like waiting for a wave at the beach, knowing it will hit even if you close your eyes. At 12:13 the house exhaled. Not a wind. Not a bang. Just a soft long breath like a big animal settling down. The recorder in my hand felt warm. The music box key did not turn. The glow stars did not flicker. For a second I dared to hope. Maybe the lullaby had found somewhere else to sing. Maybe it was just a one-night thing, like a storm that bangs on your roof and then forgets you. Then I heard it. But the song didn't come from my room. It came from the kitchen. I sat up so fast my blanket slid to the floor. My feet hit the rug. Captain Pickles said nothing, but I felt like he nodded. I crept down the hall, past the closed closet door, past the bathroom night light doing its tiny best. The kitchen door was open. The lights were off, except for the refrigerator glow and the street lamp's thin stripe through the blinds. Mom stood at the counter, eyes half open, as if she was both here and somewhere far away. Her lips moved. The song came out, soft and careful, too sweet to be safe. It wrapped around the room and pulled shadows to it like magnets. On the window glass, where the night looked back at us, letters began to write, MIA. My knees wanted to go the other way, but I made them lock. I pressed the recorder button. The red light winked like a tiny heart. "Mom?" I whispered. She did not answer. But the song did. It changed, only a little, like the way a smile changes when it sees a camera. The notes tilted toward me. The fridge hummed, bent to follow. The spoon in the sink rattled. The kettle began to hiss, though no one had touched it. That was when the crib showed up. First a shiver on the floor, then a long soft shadow, then a shape like a cradle made of night, rocking itself. Empty but not empty. The hairs on my arms lifted like a field of wheat in wind. The letters' rules ran through my head like a checklist. Do not finish listening. Do not open a door that opens by itself. Salt the thresholds. Never sing your name. Mom, wake up. My voice shook but stayed inside my mouth. I wanted to move to her and shake her shoulders, but my feet felt tucked into the floor. The song leaned closer like it wanted to climb into my ear. On the fogged window, MIA brightened, and then a new line wrote itself, SIN. The wind stopped. The open door didn't close, but the darkness beyond it shimmered, like it was thinking about leaving. Mom, it's okay, I said, running to her. She blinked hard, then looked at me like she had just woken from a nightmare she couldn't remember. What happened? She whispered. I didn't know how to answer, because how do you explain to your mom that she was singing with a baby's voice and following a ghost crib into a hole in the world? Instead I said, we need to shut the door. She nodded, shakily, and together we pushed it closed. When the latch clicked, the air in the house felt normal again, like someone had pressed play on the world. But the baby monitor on the shelf crackled. A giggle, tiny, soft, like a breath that forgot to stay gone, floated out before the static swallowed it. The next morning, sunlight made everything look smaller. Mom said she didn't remember anything after making tea. She said she must have sleepwalked. I wanted to believe her, but the jar of salt was still tipped over on the kitchen floor, The crystals spread like frost. She called in sick to work. I stayed home from school. We sat at the table both pretending to eat cereal. "We're okay," she said again, but her eyes flicked to the shelf every few seconds. The shelf where both music boxes sat, closed, quiet. "Mom," I said, "we have to get rid of them." "I can't," she whispered. "They were your grandmother's." "Grandma's gone," I said. "But the song isn't." She looked at me like I was too young to understand, but also like I might be right. That afternoon, we buried the broken music box in the backyard under the oak tree. Mom said words that sounded like a prayer, though I don't think she believed them. I sprinkled salt over the dirt and tied a red ribbon around the tree trunk just in case. For a few days nothing happened. No songs. No whispers. No open doors. I started to think maybe the lullaby had left with the music box. But on Friday night, just as I was falling asleep, I heard something new. A hum. Not from the box. Not from the baby monitor. From the ground beneath my bed. It was low, slow, like the earth was learning the tune by heart. I leaned over and pressed my ear to the floor. The hum grew clearer, almost gentle. It wasn't words yet, but I knew the melody. I'd know it anywhere. The Lullaby of Fear. My lamp flickered. The glow stars pulsed. Then I heard another sound, something scratching softly right under me. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Like fingers tracing the floorboards from the other side. I sat up fast, heart pounding, and reached for the recorder. I hit record. The humming stopped. For 3 full seconds the house was completely silent. Then from the baby monitor a small voice whispered, "You buried me." I dropped the recorder. It hit the floor with a click, but the red light stayed on. The scratching started again, faster, harder, like something trying to dig its way out. I jumped off the bed and backed against the wall, staring down as the sound grew louder, closer. Then the floorboards bulged like something underneath was pushing up. The air turned icy. My breath came out in fog. "Mom?" I screamed. She burst into my room, half asleep and terrified. "What is it?" The floor cracked. A hand, small, white, too small, pushed through the wood, reaching toward the sky. Mom screamed. The hand twitched once, twice, and then froze. The fingers curled back like a dying flower. The lullaby began again, this time from everywhere at once. From the walls, the vents, the pipes. The same soft, sweet song that promised to keep you safe while it stole your breath. And then all at once it stopped. The hand slid back under the floor, the cracked ceiling behind it with a sound like wood sighing. Silence. Mom and I just stood there, breathing too loud. "We're leaving," she said finally, voice shaking. "Tonight." But when we went to pack our things we saw it. On the window above my bed, drawn in fog even